Let's talk about the need for justice and fairness as an autistic ADHDer. So I'm Nikki Butler, also known as the Autistic Joyologist, and I've always had this really innate sense and need for fairness and justice. And it's really interesting for me. My background prior to kind of stepping into this world was law. So very much about, things needing to be fair, to be right, to find justice. I won't get started on our justice system because I'm not entirely sure that is a good reflection of justice, but it's still that inbuilt need for justice and fairness. And that comes across all situations. It could be personal relationships, friendships, work situations, or even just a day-to-day experience that I'm having. And I really have this strong need for things to be fair and things to be just. And something that has caused lots of challenges over the years for me is the fact that other people don't think like that. I saw a really interesting thread on Instagram yesterday that I engaged in, and it was around this desperate need for fairness and justice, and almost this bewilderment that other people seem to sit really well with injustice. They can let things slide, they don't need to put things right, they don't need to find this balance in their worlds. And I can't wrap my head around that, which can make life seem really challenging because it's not always possible to find something that we consider fair or just. And actually that is often subjective. It's very personal to each of us. But I wondered how you experienced it, whether you struggle to fight that sort of internal need for fairness and justice, and how you manage it in situations where that might not be possible. I can particularly think of it in corporate situations. So back when I was in legal corporate management, and life in the corporate world often isn't fair. People aren't treated fairly. There's not, a justice across the board. But it was something that I really strongly fought for my team, for the people that I managed, and felt very strongly and passionately about. But it wasn't something that was replicated by other people. And that often was quite damaging to the relationships with other people, to the dynamic within the business environment that I was in, because I never understood how people could sit comfortably with people being treated unfairly, and I think that contributed quite heavily to the difficulties I had in my corporate world, and it ended in corporate burnout or autistic burnout. I wasn't diagnosed in my mid-40s, so autistic burnout at 36, because trying to balance all the other complexities of a busy corporate life with the fact that nothing ever sat right with me, nothing ever seemed to be fair or just or handled in a way that was equal to everybody, and I couldn't cope with that. I couldn't wrap my head around it. It does also spill into my personal life and to personal relationships and friendships, and so if ever I felt that somebody wasn't treated fairly, I would stand up for them and I would want what was right for them, and then it becomes very hurtful when other people don't want that for you too, or worse, other people are fueling that injustice and treating you unfairly, but don't seem to care or be bothered when you point that out to them. It's such a strong, innate feeling that life should be fair and life should be just, and the reality is that it isn't, and it can make it difficult for us to navigate our worlds. So I wondered what your experiences were. Is it something that you experience and come across on a regular basis, and is that in your friendships, in your personal relationships, or in maybe a social or a professional context? How do you deal with it? How do you cope with the day-to-day injustice or unfairness? Like, are you really clear on the fact that you feel that something isn't right or isn't just? Or do you sit with that unease, knowing that it isn't, but not knowing how you can do something about it? Please share your experiences. It's something that I think so many of us experience and struggle with on a day-to-day basis. So pop your comments below, reach out on socials, or you can always send me an email, hello@autisticjoyologist.co.uk. I will see you very soon.